You've been surviving for years, maybe decades, maybe your entire life. You know, building routines, building relationships, an entire life architecture that revolves around getting by rather than thriving. So how do you build the new scaffolding to hold the new you? Today we're going to talk about how to bridge that gap between the old and the new without burning it all down. So your old life, your survival life, came from your survival self. And what exactly is your survival self? An adaptive identity that's formed through fear, scarcity, and sometimes trauma. It's really the lens through which we see the world and ourselves. It's the script that gets played, kind of shapes how we experience reality and the opportunities and experiences that we allow into our lives. The reason it can take quite a bit of time for the outer world or our external lives to catch up to our internal transformation is because we are very layered beings. We have to clear all of it, literally every single last bit of old survival conditioning and wiring before we can fully open the floodgates to the new, to conscious creation. First, let's just talk a little bit about like some examples of survival, the survival self and survival living. It's like settling for jobs because you think you have to, obligation, scarcity mindset, feeling like you never have enough, like your options are always limited. I'm sure you've heard of the term trauma bonding. Trauma bonding is like deep bonding through pain rather than expansion or conscious empowerment and sovereignty, enmeshment patterns and codependencies, aka playing small together. And just in general, routines that are kind of designed unconsciously to avoid risk, but also prevent joy and growth and expansion. Here are some signs that you may be unconsciously still playing by your old playbook or living in your, or attaching to your old scaffolding while hoping for new to come in. That could look like overcommitment to things, people, jobs, whatever that you've already outgrown. Knowing I don't fit here anymore, I feel drained in this environment, this is clearly bringing out an old part of myself, but yet your life, your daily routine, your schedule is still filled to the brim with it. You're still engaging it. You're still feeding that part of your life. And likewise, that could be environments that are keeping you in survival-based nervous system patterns. Fight or flight, freeze, fawning, performing. Roles that you may need to literally have to go and put on a little mask and say, here I am, this is the version of me that I get to pretend to be. Could also be habits that you know don't feel good. You know they perpetuate an old cycle. You know that they're bringing out old patterns that you don't really want anymore, but you do because you've just always done them. They're familiar, you know them. It's not going to be comfortable to rewrite the script, to flip the script, to take ownership of your life and to start changing your patterns. It's not going to be comfortable because you are literally wired to do it a certain way. What we have to do is we have to train our nervous system to be so safe and present that when we do try or go and attempt to rewire these patterns within ourselves and develop these new routines and stay persistent in and disciplined, we can train ourselves with that presence to be like, oh, okay, that was triggering. That was a little scary. I don't know what's happening. This is new, but one step at a time, we're gonna rewire our circuitry and learn, again, one step at a time, little piece by little piece, that it's safe. It's all about finding safety in our bodies. It's not a logical process. So much of our world, so much of the self-help community is so mental, and reality is that we are very feeling-driven species. And everything, our mental capacity directly mirrors our nervous system capacity. So this whole entire process is fundamentally rooted in your nervous system safety. And if you are constantly and chronically in a fight or flight mode, and you're reactive, and you are constantly looking at your phone, you're thinking about the news, you're thinking about everything that can go wrong, you are not ever going to be conditioning your nervous system to be present enough to build these new neural pathways. All of that said, understand that it's very normal for your nervous system to respond as if it is experiencing a major threat when you're doing something new. But that should be the very sign that tells you to slow down, get into your body, and find a way to make your body feel safe instead of going through your mind of how, whatever the story might be for why you're not able to adjust, why you're not able to transform, what's holding you back. The path, I promise, is getting out of the mind and coming into your body. Feeling your way into safety is going to get you so much closer every single time. There is such thing as quantum leaping, but I think in order to get to a place where you even have the capacity to quantum leap, you are focusing on little micro movements, little micro changes, so that your nervous system has time to adapt and adjust to changes that you're making. And over time, you'll be surprised at how quickly little changes build momentum, especially because when they're small, they are sustainable. Rather than asking yourself or thinking about the patterns, your behaviors themselves, I invite you to start thinking about the version of you. We're going all the way deep into identity, no longer looking at the symptoms, the effects. Let's get down to the version of you, your identity. Who is the version of me that's doing X action, that's showing up in this environment? What are they trying to achieve? The more you sort of detach from identity or identifying with a lot of those survival-based patterns, you start to see them for what they are, and you can start to call in something more conscious and intentional. When you start to see everything you do as a reflection or an extension of identity, it actually becomes so much easier to be like, okay, wait, that's not who I am anymore. Who you are is what's going to shape the life you want to call in. And fully identifying with that version of you. That is the essence of becoming, is becoming that version of yourself. So likewise, maybe looking at your life, doing like an audit on your daily routine. Where are you still showing up in old survival patterns or places or relationships? And how can you swap something else? Where can you do just like a mini swap? Okay, I was spending a lot of time doom scrolling from this time to that time. What can we start replacing? And rather than viewing it as, I'm just switching my routine or my pattern, can you say, okay, so here's the little blocks of my life where my survival self is still kind of running the show, but this is where I'm going to bring my higher self into my routine every single day. These are the little bits and pieces where I'm going to feed my higher self. So where I did doom scroll to feed my survival self, I'm now going to swap that out and start feeding my higher self in that moment. And I'm going to do that every single day so that there's a little bit more of a balance, so that we can start integrating more and more and more of my higher self into my daily routine. I think so many people get, especially in the old paradigm, we kind of we stretch ourselves to fit our life structure. And if you can find a way to make your structure fit you, that's how you start reshaping your life. I think it's sort of like the scaffolding and architecture of our lives are like an outfit we wear, an outfit of our identity. And if you are still wearing this old, worn out outfit that never really fit you, you fit it. What kind of clothing, like articles of clothing, can you start fitting that like actually represent you, that fit you, that feel good to wear, that express your truth? I think that's a really nice metaphor for, you wear the outfit. You choose, where can you be in control of your time? Where can you decide how much of yourself you're going to show or express, or whatever it is, what you're going to do. Take ownership back of your life little by little, and you'll start to realize, like, the more you do it, the more you feed that part of yourself, the more it starts to take over. But you have to be conscious and intentional about it, and you have to really do it in a digestible, sustainable way initially, without jumping the gun, without being unrealistic, because you have to anticipate that your ego is going to fight back to try to compensate, especially early on, especially with these nervous system responses. So just remember, you're not building a new life necessarily. What you're doing is you are detaching from an old identity rooted in survival and fear and scarcity and trauma, and you are making space and bringing courage and bravery to call in something more conscious and more intentional and more empowering. You're not burning anything down. You're not building a brand new life. You are just no longer fitting yourself into a life that isn't yours, and you are instead calling in a life that is. It's easier said than done, but it's also easier than it seems once you start just by little bits and pieces, swapping out and saying, okay, so where is my survival identity showing up, and where can I start integrating that higher self into my daily activities, starting with one little shift at a time. And as you really start to get stronger or more established in certain routines and habits, you can continue to do it more and more and more. And it does get easier with time, but you need to be persistent. You need to be creating the containers to find safety for your nervous system, anticipating that there may be some backlash in your ego and in your, survival self when things are uncomfortable, when things do get real. It might be all fun and exciting when you start, building out the schedule on a day you have extra motivation, and then, once reality kicks in, your nervous system is going to want to go right back to how things were. So how can you build that safety to make things work for you long term? Instead of thinking of how drastically can I shift my life now, it's what can I do right now that's going to be sustainable and build momentum for me over time, because it is doable over time. So I invite you to do a mini audit of your life, of your routine during your week and during your day. Just identify one area in your life, one part of your routine that is a reflection of your survival self. And where can you integrate or swap out and instead bring in a little bit of your higher self instead? Is it doom scrolling? Can you go for a walk during that time every day, or however often that you can? Or can you get on, start building something? Are you maybe art or writing? What can you do that's going to feed your future, your higher self, your higher path, your higher version of reality? Let me know in the comments what comes to mind and what you might be choosing to integrate instead. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button for more content like this. I will talk to you soon. Thanks for watching. Bye.